My dear friend, hello. Today I speak in English. I'm sorry for my English because I speak all the time or Italian or Polish. Doesn't matter, no way. Today I will show you an application for the calculation of alcohol when you make, for example, wine, beer, whiskey, vodka, everything what you want. I think it's very simple, but very complete, and you will have control in every phase of this production of your homemade alcohol. Then I show you calculator. Open the application. Now you can choose. First choose is lowering of alcohol content when you make liqueurs or also liquors. Let's see. Okay, for example, you are making whiskey. After distillation, you have, for example, 1 liter. You can write also in American gallons or in imperial gallons. They are not the same. You have to check the quantity of alcohol after distillation using alcoholometer. For example, 65%, but you want whiskey, typical whiskey with 40% alcohol. So you write here 40, calculate. So as you see, you have to add 625 milliliters of distilled water, or for example, you can see in American gallons. You can see also the quantity of your whiskey. And you can use this application, this part of application. I'm sorry for my English, I never speak English, I don't have many occasions. For example, if you want to make a liquor but without sugar, here no sugar. But it's just an example. You make simple whiskey cream, for example, using whiskey, cream, and coffee. It's just an example. You have your recipe, 1 liter of whiskey, 40%. You want a cream whiskey with alcohol content 16%, 16, 17, something like Baileys. Calculate. You have to add 1,500 milliliters of not alcoholic part. I mean coffee and cream together. So, for example, you can decide 1 liter of cream and 500 milliliters of coffee. It depends from you what you prefer. Okay. Now we check the alcohol, the second choose, alcohol content calculation. When you make a drink, a liquor, it's an example now. For example, whiskey cream, Baileys, whiskey, I don't know. Okay, of course, 30% alcohol. For example, 500 milliliters or others. Then cream, 0% alcohol, 200. Coffee, here 0%, I don't know, 50 milliliters. And if you want other beverages, then sugar, for example, 150 grams, or you can choose. Calculate, and you can, as you can see, almost 24%. If we don't add sugar, you have more alcohol. Why you have less alcohol with sugar? Because the sugar increase the part, the not alcoholic part of our liquor. So you have more, if you have sugar, you have less alcohol. You have more alcohol adding sugar only when you add the yeast, but we will see later. So here, if you want more alcohol here, you can add more whiskey or, for example, something else, or less coffee. Of course, you can decide. Then, now the third choice is the calculation of alcohol content when you make wine, beer, and liqueurs, but only the first phase, the phase of fermentation, because when we make, for example, vodka, first of all, we have the first phase of fermentation, water and potatoes, water and malt. Then the second phase is the distillation. Okay. First of all, there is a note, some notes. The first note is that when you make beer, you add in the bottle, to have carbonated beer, you have to add in the bottle 8-9 grams of sugar for every liter of beer, and it will increase the alcohol content by about 0.5%. This is very important. The second note is that the calculation of that this calculation is about drying wines. I mean, well, if you wait to the end of fermentation, you will have dry wine. If you want a sweet wine, you have to remember that you have to kill the yeast, then you can add sugar. Or, of course, you can stop before the ending of the fermentation, then you kill the yeast, you have some sugar, of course, in this wine, because you stopped before the ending of fermentation, and this sugar makes your wine sweet. Of course, if it's not enough, you can add sugar. The third note is just an information. Don't worry, because the application calculates everything for you. Okay, we make a wine now. We will make a wine. 1 liter of must. This application works better when you have must or wort filtered. Okay, we have 1 liter, or others, of course. Then you have to check the quantity of sugar using, for example, a saccharometer. I use this Balling, but you can choose. I recommend Balling is the best for me. But I give you others, but Balling is the best. Okay, for example, we check, we read 20 Balling, not so sweet grapes. Then we have to write the quantity of sugar hypothesized, sorry, at the end of fermentation, because we don't know. But we can read here, recommended, it's 2 grams of sugar in 100 grams of this must. If we are using malt or potatoes, 4 if we are using fruits or sugar, so wine, so 4. Hypothesized. Okay, then we can calculate the potential alcohol at the end of fermentation. It's almost 10%. If it is okay for us, we have option 1, so we add the yeast, of course, we wait to the end of fermentation, then at the end of fermentation, we can check the sugar, how much sugar, how, for example, 4 Balling, so calculate, of course, it's the same, but if we have more sugar, a little bit more, at the end of fermentation, So we can check that there is less alcohol, it's normal. But if this potential alcohol is not enough for us, we have option 2 or option 3. Option 2. Here we can write how much alcohol we want to have, for example, 12%. Calculate. Okay, you have to add 57 grams of sugar, or you see. Then I prefer grams. Then we have the sugar, of course the yeast, we wait. At the end of fermentation, again, we have to check the real quantity of sugar, because we brought here 4. It's just the sugar level only hypothesized. It's a difficult word for me. Okay, then we write here the real. If we check 4, of course we have 12. If we have, for example, only 3, we have a little bit more alcohol. But from the beginning of this production, we can almost know what we will have, how much alcohol we will have in our wine. The third is, for example, here I have a recipe from a friend or from internet. I want to add to my must water or sugar. For example, no water, only sugar. I write 57 to check, and exactly 12%. Of course, if we want more alcohol, more sugar, you see. We can add also water as you prefer. Of course, we put the water, the sugar, and then at the end of fermentation, we check how much alcohol. For example, is 4 barley. The alcohol is almost 14. If we read more barley, less alcohol. But almost 13, 14. Then let's make a beer. We have 1 liter of wort. The sugar level is, for example, 19. Before the fermentation, we have to check using a saccharometer. As I told you, I prefer barley. Then here we read that if we are using malt or potatoes, we have to maybe we will have at the end of fermentation 2 grams of sugar. So let's calculate. Our beer will have 10%. Of course, this wort is what we had when we put the malt in the water, hot water, we wait, and from this malt we have sugar in this water, and we have to filter. Then, as you see, we had a lot of sugar, so a lot of alcohol at the end we will have. So what can we do? We can, for example, add water. So option 3, we add, for example, 1 liter of water. No sugar, of course, because it's enough. Calculate. Our beer will have 4 and 7%, plus you have to remember to add 0.5% because of the sugar in the bottle. It's okay. If it's not enough, we can add a little bit of sugar, of course. It's too much. Then we put we add the water. We add the water and the sugar. Then the yeast. We wait to the end of fermentation. At the end, we check if it's, the sugar is 2 barleys. Of course, we have the same 5 and 23. If we have more sugar, less alcohol. Remember, 4 and 63 plus half percent because of the sugar in the beer. This part of application, it's important also when you make, for example, whiskey vodka, as I told you, because you can control also the phase of fermentation, and after the fermentation you can have more alcohol, for example, just adding sugar. Then you will have more alcohol for the distillation, and after distillation, of course, more whiskey or vodka. The last is the instruction, how to make, for example, vodka, whiskey. But as you see, if you are making wine or beer, you need only the third choose. If you are making a mix, you need the second. If you are making vodka, whiskey, something by distillation, you need, of course, after distillation, the first choose. But if you want to have control also in the first phase of fermentation, you have to use, first of all, the third choose, then the first choose. Using this application, you can do almost everything. In the description under this video, you can find the link to download this application. Okay, thank you for this time together. You need only one saccharometer and one alcoholometer and this application, and you will be able to make every kind of alcohol: wine, beer, vodka, rum. In my channel you can find a lot of, for example, alcohol like vodka, rum, brandy, wine. Some videos are already, but there will be a lot of videos of this alcohol. Thank you for the time. You can give me a like. You can subscribe my channel if you want. You can find in every video almost the subtitles in English. Okay, my friend, thank you very much again. Bye.